Okay guys, so thanks for joining me again. Today we're going to look at the mountain. So mainly his colors will be in I'm doing it non-metallics and in yellow. So the first one I did previously was the alternative sculpt, and I did it with an airbrush. But today I'm going to do this one using a brush. Okay, I think to start off, I'd like to do the metal, but I think I might do the metal last, so I want to do the yellow first. Start doing the yellow with a heavy gold brown first. Put that on my palette. And I'm going to add some heavy brown to that as well. Mix that up, and then I'm using like a dark grey primer for this, but I think as you'll see it goes on pretty well. I'll need a good 2-3 coats, but when you're dealing with anything sort of yellowish in colour or tone, then you know that's going to be a good couple of layers to get it on. But I want it sort of dark anyway. I don't want it bright or light looking. I might just turn the lamp on just in case that makes a difference there. Sorry about that. So one coat on there, and then during the course of the video, I'll probably fast forward all these parts, all these long areas where footage that I'm just applying a color to something. I don't really want you to sit through all of that. That's unnecessary. So in trying to keep the videos shorter as possible. Yeah, my goal is to get the videos under 30 minutes if possible. I find anything longer, I think it just be boring, I guess. I'm not sure. I don't think I could sit through a very long painting tutorial. So yeah, just getting you the idea of what I'm doing, and maybe you've got your own ideas about how to do yellow. This is not the only way. There's many different ways. You could have primed him white and added your yellow straight over the white, which is a good base to work from. Or you could have painted him in like ivory or something like that as a base, and then did yellow over the top. I'm just looking for a much darker yellow. I don't want it too bright. Okay, so I've completed a base coat of the yellow and brown mix, and now when that is dry, I will do another layer of paint over the top of that, and then I'll come back and then we can start with the process of shading and highlighting it. So guys, I'm pretty happy with that. I've put 2 layers on there now, and it's fairly dry across the model. So it's put a good coverage on there, but we're going to, in our shading and highlights, we're going to cover any patches that might be on there anyway. So just like with the mountain men, I'm going to add, they had a bit of brown, they had a bit of green in their shading. So with the blue and yellow, we're going to get a little bit of green tinge in there anyway. So now I'm just going to paint that into all the areas where I think there will be shade falling on the model. add some more of that grey. And paint it in the areas where it's going to be really dark, where there'll be very little light. And just working back with some of the, the darker colours into the recesses as we move along, just to blend the two colours together. Okay, I think we'll let that dry and we'll come back for the second highlight. Okay guys, to help us with our highlighting, I'm going to add some green grey to my palette. Just add a little bit in there. It's a bit too much. So again, just keep into the raised areas. Slide in some highlights there. Yeah, I like to balance out some of the colours if need to. If there's too much of a stark difference between the... Maybe we'll have like a highlight down here too. Just to define the folds of the robes, and then we'll just line it down the outside here. On the back. I just didn't want this really, starch white looking yellow on them. I just don't think that's how they should look. Okay, so he's at a level where I'm pretty happy just to leave it as it is now. Just miss this part, I think. Yeah, just for the time being, I'm going to leave it as that. And then, yeah, we can work on the armour. We need to start. So some Luftwaffe Uniform World War II will be probably the base. And I'm going to use this time some natural grey as it's like a mid-tone highlight. And some blue-grey pale as another further highlight. Let's get stuck into the armour. So I'm just going to mix it with an old brush, a thick old brush. Mix those two colours together. And yeah, just paint that straight on all the armour. So I'm going to fast forward this part a little. I'm just going to sort of just cut to the next stage. So basically I'm just putting this colour and base coating it on all the parts where there is armour on him. So yeah, I'm going to do that first, and then I'm going to give that maybe 2 coats. Okay, so just everywhere where the armour is, I'm going to put that base colour down. So I'll be back in a minute. Okay, so after you've done that, or after I've done this, and then we can go on to the next highlight. Okay, so we're back in a sec. Yeah, so I've given everything a good coat with that Luftwaffe and the dark sea blue mix. So now we can add some of that steel grey into there. I've just changed my brush. I'm just got a more of a fine pointed, thicker brush. It's that Red Grass Games brush. It's got quite a large bristle on it. But yeah, I just want to sketch in the colours of the armour and the sword and that kind of thing. So I don't really need a fine brush so much. So just doing it like this is just good for me at the moment, and I can switch out to a finer brush later. So I'm just going to paint this onto the ring. I even painted the rocks underneath in that same colour as well, because they're going to be a greyish colour as well in the end. So this little belt buckle there. Yeah, so I'm sort of just messily just painting that on, not being overly careful about it. I just want to put down just like large areas of where the majority of the light would be hitting his armour, and then we can go back and blend it through in a minute. Okay, so we've got, yeah, most of all the parts of where we want the lighter grey to be. And back here we still got some of our darker colours here, so yeah, I'm just going to blend that back into the lower part. I might just get more of that dark sea grey. I could really take my time and, do each plate individually and, really, concentrate on getting all those blends done correctly. This is just a really quick way to sort of sketch in armor and, get a reasonable result done in a fairly reasonable time. But yeah, if you want to take your time and really sort of carefully blend in all those colors together, that's fine. You just do whatever you want to do. I'm just going to get these done fairly quickly. We've got a demo game happening at the end of this month, and I've got a lot of stuff to do in between now and then. So just getting the Lannisters to a stage where they've got paint on them, and they look a lot better than just being plain red and in the colors they come in the box. And then, later, if I wanted to go over them again and touch them up, I can do so later on. I don't even varnish these miniatures, I just leave them as they are. I think PVC or plastic miniatures generally don't really need varnish, but they do have a bit of a glossy finish to them because they're in PVC, so maybe giving them a matte varnish when you know that you're absolutely finished with them and you don't want to paint them anymore, maybe that's probably a good idea. Okay, so just sort of blending through back again from light to dark. If something's a bit too dark, and I can blend it back using the lighter color. If something's too light, then I can blend it back using the darker color until you're happy and satisfied that you've got a good balance there between the two. Okay, I think it doesn't look too bad. Okay, while that's still wet, I'm going to add some of that lighter blue-grey into the previous mix that we had. And yeah, start putting down some highlights. Still using the larger brush. I think that's fairly comfortable to use. And I'm actually going to just start highlighting these little dog embossed details here, these little dogs here, or hounds, or what do you want to call them. Yeah, so we can get it done at the same time because I think they're black. So, yep, that looks okay. I'm sort of just dragging the brush over the curved edges and that kind of thing, just to highlight all those places where just the rims of the armor and that kind of thing where the light would catch the most. And I can just blend in a little bit on the top part of the armor, not too much, just so we can see a graduation there of light to dark, and do some of the shoulder pads as well. Just small patches and then just blend it back through again. Again, I don't think he'll look absolutely fantastic, not like a really studio painted miniature, but I think he will look not too bad when we're finished. maybe that's just me because they're just PVC. I don't want to spend too much time with them. And they're Lannisters. I'll probably never play Lannisters, so they're just used for the demo set. Sort of brushed a line of light there through there, so might do a few more of those and sort of just brush in a line of light where I think it would hit the armour. Yeah, but we need to do some brown. We need to give him a brown wash for the armour in a minute. With the smaller brush, I can put in some blends here and there that I think might look nice on parts of his armour. You don't have to do that if you don't want to. I really wanted to keep his armour quite dark because I like the Mountains men in this kind of really dark looking armour. They shouldn't be really nice and shiny like, you know, Valiant Knights. They're like these brutal guys from the mountains, I guess. Okay, so I'm pretty happy with that at this stage. So now we're going to add some brown washes to his armour, just to give some more depth and definition to the armour plates, and then we'll come in with a final highlight afterwards. Just a large brush. Okay, the red brass brush I'm using. I'm going to use some whole red, and I might just put a little bit of that dark sea blue in there as well. And I'm just going to put it in where the areas where I think there would be shade. do that. I'm going to do that on the rocks too, underneath as well. Get that a nice wash as well to define all those rocks. I brush my finger across. It's just to wipe off any excess paint that I don't want on the model. And on the sword, it's just easy to do it like that. Okay, so pretty happy with that, so I'm going to let that dry now, and then we can come back and do the final highlights in a minute. Okay guys, so we're just back now, and we're going to add the final highlights. So I've just added a bit of white to my palette this time. I'm just going to mix some of that light grey into the white first off. And just run over parts of his armour. And the little dogs on there as well. Just using the flat of my brush on the sword to get that center line. Then on the edges too. Okay, so I'm pretty happy with that highlight there, and now I'm just going to finish off with one final highlight, and that's going to be just pure white, and that's just to pick out some, you know, really sort of just ping, basically, to sort of ping and highlight just very small areas on the armor, just like that, like little dots. Just a few here and there, just to accentuate the light on his armor, just the highlights there. Yeah, and I think I'm pretty happy with that, guys. So that's his armor done. And now I'm just going to go and do the leather sections on his belt and strap. Okay, to do the leather and the strap, I'm going to use this color here, which is Hull Red. It's just a dark reddish brown. I'm going to mix a little bit of black in that as well. I'm just doing some lining in as well, just around the armor plates, just to give them some extra definition as well, along as I'm painting in the straps. then for the sword, I might just add some dark lines here, just to, again, just add some more definition there. Yeah, that part of the sword wasn't really blended through very well, so I'm just going back and touching that up. Just going to add some German cam medium brown for the strapping. Like so. Just adding some more brown of the straight brown. Like that. And then I've got some beige here. I think this is called German cam beige. And I'm just going to mix that in with the brown so we can make our highlights there. I've got his hands before actually, so I'm just going to add a bit of highlight. I'm not so worried about that so much. Keeping them dark is probably better. Now, let's add a bit of white to that mixture. A bit lighter. And we'll put our final highlight on the strapping, probably just on the top there. Okay, now, yeah, we've got these studs in on his strapping, so just a bit of black. I'm just gonna mark them out, and I probably just want to add a bit of that whole red. I just want to put a line down here. I think that just needs to be defined a bit more. So I think this one too. Yep, that looks better. Okay, just put these studs in black as well. I'm just going to go up to that neutral grey. All the studs. As I like to do with all leathers, with some of that whole red. Just going to give it a bit of wash. So. Okay, now I'm going to grab some of that green and make it very thin wash of that, and I'm actually going to put that on the yellow. Quite like that look of that green on the yellow. I think I did it with the Mountains Men too, so I'm just going to add some very light washes of that on his coat, just to do some weathering. And I just find the green just looks nice. It's just my personal style, maybe, you know. You can do it in an orangey brown or whatever color you find you think matches. Okay, I'm just going to let that dry, and then I'll be back in a minute. Just add some more finishing touches to him, and he's going to be done. Okay, so back in a tick. And now that's dry, I'm just going to add another wash of whole red, just on his armour around here and that kind of thing, just to darken it up a little bit. And on his robes as well. And you can even just use the paint and sort of just dab on some areas where, you know, dirt and mud and that kind of thing, and blood or whatever. Is on there. That's quite watery, so just add a bit more paint if you need to. Now I can use pigments too. I've got some pigments here that I could use, but in this tutorial, just use the paint. That works perfectly well. Around his feet and the rocks and the base I'm going to do later on. It won't be part of this tutorial, but you know, we'll cover bases as well for the Lannisters too. I don't know if I did it for the other mountain. I'm not sure if I did it previously or not, but I'll have to go back and check. I know I did the basings for the Starks already with their snow basing. These guys have got a lot more of a, you know, grass or green, grass sort of base, textured base. You can add a bit more black in there if you want to, or even that green. more darker. Okay, I'm gonna let that dry and see what it looks like when he's fully dried, and then I think we'll finish the video for there. And that's the result of our finished mountain, all dried up. And yeah, I think that effect of the weathering on his uniform looks quite good, and on the shield as well. So, but yeah, you can do it with pigments or anything like that you feel that you want to do it. Maybe you don't want to do any weathering at all and just leave it nice and clean. But yeah, I think that effect come off quite well. So yeah, if you've got any comments about the video, anything you want to ask me, just leave them in the comments below. And I look forward to seeing you in the next tutorial.